Hi there. Sorry. I guess I was kind of hoping to be mysterious. Just ordering you a drink, and then when you glance over here, we make eye contact and all, but I don't know. Cool and mysterious has never really been my forte. I'm more of a blunt and straightforward kind of gal. I probably should have gone with that from the beginning, huh? But, well, here we are. I guess, though, since you haven't run away screaming, that means that you're down for at least a little bit of conversation. If you want to, of course. I don't want to force it on you if you're not interested or anything. I mentioned that I was straightforward, but I think that sometimes it means I can be a little bit too abrasive and scare people off. So if you don't want to talk, that's totally fine. And you don't have to feel obligated just because I bought you a drink or anything. Believe me, whether or not you want to talk with me, it was definitely worth it. So, I won't be taking it back regardless of your answer. Oh. Did I just fluster you? Now, I have eyes. I definitely know a blush when I see one. That's okay, though. Honestly, it kinda suits you, if you don't mind me saying so. I guess this is the part where I introduce myself, huh? You can call me Mara, if you like. I would normally break the ice by saying that I haven't seen you here often, but I'm new to town. Or just passing through it is more of the truth. I'm a bit of a nomad, I guess you could say. Or perhaps knight would be a more fitting term, if the armor and stuff didn't give it away. Are you local, or are you a traveler as well? Local, huh? Well, you probably know a lot more about this place than I do then. It's one of the nicer taverns that I've been to be honest, so we're blessed in that right. Or you and your town are, anyway. Though, to be fair, when you move around as much as I do, sometimes the insides of all these places just kind of blur together. I can't even keep track of where some of my favorites are most of the time. There's always a nice surprise when you walk in and realize that it's someplace that I remember being fond of. I suppose that's not a kind of life that someone like you would be familiar with. It is quite different from what I would assume the common folk are used to. It feels as though my life has been like this since almost before I can remember. So, I suppose I don't really have anything to miss. Though, I suppose it's possible that I would have chosen this life, regardless of if I'd been forced into it or not. Travel can be taxing, but it can be rewarding as well. And I think there's a reason for my travel. Of course, which I want to give up almost anything. Being a knight is dangerous, of course, but there are many benefits. And ones that I wouldn't give up lightly. Even though I'm sure that sleeping in the same bed every night could be nice. Oh, yes. I'm sure you've heard of many of them. I do get a fair sum of gold for my troubles. And an early retirement, which is good since I'll possibly be needing it anyway. This job, if you would even call it that, isn't exactly something that I can be doing when I'm old and crinkly. And there is a bit of fanfare surrounding it, which, well, though I suppose some are not exactly fond of all of the screaming and trumpeting, well, I sometimes hesitate to admit it, but it is quite a bit interesting to me, to say the least. The children are the most interesting by far. By the time they grow old, they'll understand that a love for knights is sometimes controversial. But they don't know it just yet. It's a kind of pure adoration. Though, I suppose those words coming from me could be misconstrued. We're a good omen, usually, as it means extra protection. Though, we also bring in the implied danger of the fact that protection is needed in the first place. Not to mention the fact that there's just never enough of us. And people do like to talk. Anyone working for the king is bound to have a little bit of a reputation around them, good or bad. But the children, well, they don't know that yet, do they? They just tend to think we're cool, so that's simple. And usually pretty fun. Though, I'm sure it sounds like I just spent a lot of time tooting my own horn, doesn't it? Those are good bonuses, I suppose. Though, if it was just that, I'm afraid it probably wouldn't make up for the trouble we have to go through. Or, at least not for me personally. Like I said, I do enjoy traveling, but to live as just a traveler is something quite different. I envy people like you sometimes, who are able to drink in the same bar every night, go back to the same house. Not that I would give up what I have just for a chance of that. I may consider it if it was just for the fanfare and money. But there's more than that. The idea that I could actually do some good. That me being here, that me going out there to fight whatever it is, can help people and protect them even on the worst of their days. Well, that's the thing that makes it worth it. Though, I suppose it doesn't fully cover the what-if question. Or, not entirely, at least. I think that's part of the reason that I decided to buy you a drink today. You just seem so comfortable here. It's kind of like a home away from home, maybe. I haven't really stayed anywhere long enough for it to even be a little bit like a home in the first place. So, it's an interesting thing to observe, a second comfortable place. And in that observing, I might have noticed a few other things that I found quite attractive, if you don't mind me saying so. You're blushing again. I guess you have an affinity for it. No need to worry, though. Like I said, that's another thing that's quite attractive about you. Do you mind if I'm honest with you for just a moment? Well, I suppose that's already what I've been doing this whole time, but stay with me for just a little longer, will you? Yes? That's much appreciated. Like I mentioned, I'm usually the type to kind of jump into a situation, and buying a drink rather than just initiating a conversation is a bit rare for me. Not that you don't deserve it, of course. Like I said, it's not that. But it's not often that I experience... well, I suppose it could be called shyness. Though, that drink was kind of a good catalyst for conversation. Which was why I did it, I suppose. But, to me, I suppose it's a rarity that I needed that catalyst at all. That's why I find you so intriguing. You're quite different from anyone else that I've met before. Since I'm usually a stranger in towns that I pass by, I tend to spend more time watching and less time talking. I suppose that's part of the reason that I've been chatting your ear off now. I'm just not used to it. So, I apologize if this sounds rambly. But, well, I suppose my comment about watching others sounded a little malicious. I don't mean it in the creepy way, of course, though I understand how it could come off that way. But it's more like I enjoy observing what everyday life is like for normal people. Or people like you, who appear so, but are in fact quite extraordinary. It's not something that I'm usually able to witness naturally. or experience for myself. The daily hustle and bustle and conversation of those surrounding you. It's not a normal occurrence for me. Perhaps it never will be. But I do get a kind of joy in watching it when I have the chance. Which is often, I suppose. There's not many people to talk to on the road. Traveling can often feel quiet. Lonesome, I suppose, could be a good word for it. But back to my point. I've seen so many people do so many things, probably more than an average person, considering my position has allowed me to keep a stronger eye out. There's still the occasional person that can surprise me. And you're one of those. I can tell by your dress and your speech that you were from here, even before you mentioned it to me. So, I apologize if that seemed like a falsehood on my part, pretending to not know. But I wanted to be sure. Even though you appear to be from here, you watch the others as though you're an outsider. It's quite interesting, and, honestly, quite familiar if I'm being completely true to myself. Would it be horrible to say that I'm comforted that I'm not the only one that feels this way, as if I'm always on the outside of things? Well, I suppose my situation has led me to feel this more than maybe yours has, though I suppose I don't know your story in full. But I would like to know it, if you'd be willing to share it. After all, I know I am a stranger, so I don't know any of the gossip of this town just yet. And I'll be gone tomorrow, so I won't be able to share anything that you do give me. All the more reason to let your heart out now while you have the chance, right? I got a good story to take with me. Then perhaps I'll have something to chew on for a little bit, when the road gets long. And you would get a confidential ear to listen to whatever it is that you need to say. So, what do you say? Would you like to exchange tales, stranger? You would? Excellent. I can't wait to learn all about you.